Hello there, Sim0nTrains here, or some people like to call me Sim0nTrains. It doesn't matter how you pronounce it, it's fine with me. Now I'm in a car park today. Now before I tell you where I'm at, I want to read out a YouTube comment that I saw yesterday before I went to bed. Now this is from MNSHP, and he wrote, I'll put it on the screen now, if you're back in and around Rugeley and Stafford, have you heard of the old Stafford to Uttoxeter Line? An old platform called Stove Platform can still be seen in Hixon if you get into the undergrowth. Now, when I saw that comment, it actually made me chuckle a little bit because I had this planned before I went to bed last night, but I'm actually at Stafford Railway Station, in the car park at the north end. And today I'm planning to visit the disused railway station of Stafford Common. Now Stafford did have two railway stations, but as I'll go further along in the blog, I'll explain why Stafford Common closed. So before we leave the car park at Stafford Station, let's talk about the history of Stafford Railway Station, even though it's going to be brief. The first station at Stafford was built by the Grand Junction Railway in July 1837. However, the station was replaced in 1884 and again in 1862. And the final rebuild didn't take place until 1962 when William Robert Headley rebuilt the station to its current look, which is a concrete brutalist building as you can see today. But this was part of the West Coast Main Line modernisation scheme, which saw electrification on the West Coast Main Line. Just left the car park at Stafford Railway Station. Now in a second I'm actually going down this street here. But before I do that, I do want to talk about this Mercedes car showroom that's behind me. Now this actually used to be the Railway Hotel here at Stafford Railway Station, but unfortunately got locked down. But anyway, we're going a bit further up now to have a look at other places on our way to Stafford Common. We are now looking at a map from the National Library of Scotland. The map on the left is an old OS map, dates between 1892 to 1914, and the map on the right is the current map. We now zoom in on the 1892 to 1914 map and explain the lines. The line at the south takes you onto Penkridge and onto Wolverhampton High Level. The line on the southeast takes you down the Trent Valley line to Rugeley and onto Rugby. Now we look at the north end of this map. So the line on the left takes you to Wellington and Shrewsbury, the Shropshire Union Railway and Canal Company. The line in the middle takes you to Norton Bridge and onto Crewe or Stone, depending which way you depart at Norton Bridge. And finally, and this is the line we shall be focusing on, is the Stafford and Uttoxeter Line. We're now at the north end of Stafford Railway Station, and if honest, if they cut this hedge down, it's a great view of the railway station from up here. Now just here, where my finger is, used to be some railway sheds here for Stafford for the steam days, and also Stafford number 5 single box was here as well, but it's all been demolished. There's nothing left of it. So I'm just going to carry on walking that way to show you the next location that I want you to see. moved up a little bit further to this emergency access gate. Now, what I'm going to try and show you the best I can is that I've got to do this way. Is you can just see up there a bit of ballast. That used to be the track bed that took you to Uttoxeter, because the junction for it was just literally here. You can just see the West Coast Main Line behind me. There is also another junction that was here, which I'll put on the screen now because you can't see it from here. But this junction actually took you to Wellington and on to Shrewsbury, which is part of the Shropshire Union Railway and Canal Company. Now, we can't walk this part of the line because it is fenced off, but we are going to be meeting it up somewhere a bit further on. I'm now standing on a bridge that actually used to be a bridge that the railway line actually went underneath. If you see that path behind me there, that is the track bed of the railway line that took you on to Stafford Common and Uttoxeter Railway Station. We'll be walking out in a second. I'll show you this bridge as well, but before I do that, I want to pull up the map now to explain the history of this railway line that I'm walking. Now, this was nicknamed the Clog and Knocker, but the Stafford to Uttoxeter Railway opened the line in 1867. In July 1881, the line was purchased by the Great Northern Railway as a means to reach Wales. This would have been helped by the Shropshire Union Railways and Canal Company, which ran between Stafford and Shrewsbury by Wellington. But however, this never happened. The railway suffered during the First World War, when there was cut back to passenger services. The line was taken over by the London Northwestern Railway in 1923, and between 1920 to the early 1930s, the line became profitable, with excursions to Salton Sandon for the views, the race courses at Uttoxeter, and through services to the seaside made Skegness. But in 1938 there was a regular bus service between Stafford and Uttoxeter, which led to falling passenger numbers, and 1 year later, in September 1939, on the outbreak of the Second World War, the line was reduced to 1 train per day, which led to the 4th of December 1939 when the station and the passengers were ceased, which led to only military personnel to use the line between RAS Stafford and Bruce Hall. After the war, passengers and freight resumed, but didn't help, and in 1951 the line closed apart from Stafford military traffic, using the extensive sidings at RAF Stafford, but the last train ran in 1957. Now, as I mentioned, I'm actually going to be walking that line now and show you this bridge. So we're going to show you the bridge now and then walk the line. Now behind me, I was just standing on that bridge there while I was doing the history of the line. As you can see, that is a nice bridge. You can't go onto it because it's blocked off, but the railway line actually came from that direction and through this way, which behind me is the start of what they call the Isabel Trail. And we're actually going to be walking that line out because that takes you to Stafford Common Railway Station. This is the track bed of the Stafford to Uttoxeter Line, which we're just going to walk now. Ahead of you, we are looking towards Stafford Common and Uttoxeter. Now I just want to draw away from this line for a second and show you on this side here through this field. Now I'm going to have to zoom in a second because I just want to point out two things here. As you can see, with the cars and lorries going over on the right is the M6 motorway, and you can also see the West Coast Main Line from here as well, which looks like a nice view if you've got a long lens. Stafford to Uttoxeter Line, or the former track bed, is just behind me. I just want to take a detour for a second because I have seen something that might be accessible, but I'll have to do this as a future blog. I won't have to do this now. But yeah, just right in front of me here is Doxey's Marshes, and it looks like a walk as well. So I'm wondering in the future if there's a way to use this walkway to see the trains on the West Coast Main Line at Doxey, which is just behind me there. That would be interesting. But anyway, we're off the beaten track now. We'll go back on the beaten track in a second. But also next to me here, and I've probably put this in a little shot, is this old railway bridge here. I don't know if that's the original railway bridge or not, but it's just surprising me how much of the stuff actually remains. So that way takes you to Stafford Railway Station, and we're just going to carry on in this direction now. If you remember back in February, I walked the Fallowfield Loop line, and this line has no exceptions. It actually has bridges that the track used to go under. So I'm going to zoom in on that bridge in a second, but this is not like the Fallowfield Loop line. This ain't a 2-hour trip. This is more like a 30-minute trip, to be honest, so it's actually smaller than walking the Fallowfield Loop line to Stafford Common. Anyway, let's have a look at this bridge close up and then we'll move on. I don't know what those concrete blocks are just filled, but that did look very interesting indeed, but it wasn't the railway station. No, because I'll be showing you that in a second. I think we're just about 200 odd yards from it. We're not too far away now. Like I mentioned, this walk wasn't actually going to be as long as the Fallowfield Loop line was. But we're in this lovely cutting now. But I'm going to move on that way. And Stafford Common Station is not too far down there. I've now stopped here. Now you're wondering why I have stopped here, because all you can see is like a lot of greenery and a bridge down there. But what I'm about to show you now is impressive. Platform. This is the site of Stafford Common Station. And the platforms, this is the platform to Stafford, because there was 2 platforms here. The other platform, you just can't see it very well, but it is along here. I think the best thing you can see is the ramp down the bottom. But this is the site of Stafford Common Railway Station. This is the other Stafford Railway Station. And to see the platform here is absolutely amazing. It is indeed. Anyway, I'm going to do a quick history of Stafford Common's railway station now. Now where we are standing is actually the site of the second railway station at Stafford Common. Now we're just going to show you where the first site was now. Right in front of you is where the second site of Stafford Common railway station was. Now westwards under this bridge on this other side was roughly where the first site of Stafford Common railway station was. Now this station opened in 1874 by the Stafford and Uttoxeter Railway, but only had 1 platform. However though, when the Great Northern Railway took over, they rebuilt the station in 1882 and had 2 platforms. Sadly, the station closed in 1939 to passengers, but the line remained in use as Stafford Common Air Ministry siding until 1952. Now that ministry siding was just somewhere down in that direction, but it has been built on with industrial estate, so there's nothing there. I don't know if you can make this out well, but you can also see here where the ramp was that took you onto the platforms. But this bound is the Uttoxeter side, as you can just see, heading towards Uttoxeter now. Before I leave this lovely area, because I wouldn't mind walking it to Uttoxeter, but I don't think much of the line is left because it's all farmlands now. However though, there is one thing to notice, and that's the bricks here, because they're a bit more redder here, but they're a bit more darker here, because there used to be a station building there with some steps that took you onto the platforms here. Anyway, we're going down Marston Road now because there is two things that I want to show you, and one of them is railway related, the other one isn't. Now I do apologise, this is a busy road. Stafford Common railway station is in that direction, but I've come down this road here to show you this behind me here. This is Stafford Rangers Football Club. Now they're not a big league, they play in the Northern Premier League Premier Division. Hopefully you got that right, it's actually one of the smaller leagues. But this is their football ground, which is right behind me. I'm now on Marston Road. Now there is a reason why I've actually come to this, because I actually do want to visit Topp Trains. So that's where I'm going now. Now I'm on this roundabout which is at the north end of Stafford. Now Stafford Town Centre is just actually in that direction over there. And yes, I am pointed to Stafford Town Centre with Hornby R603 track. Try and blog with R603 track. But anyway, it's just gone 2:30 now, so I think what I will do is I'll actually go to the railway station now and catch the 14:55. I'll explain that in a minute, because yes, I think you know where this is going. Right, yes, I am on a train, and I do need to explain this clearly, right, because I have to rely on public transport. Now I did actually do want to go to Topp Trains today, which I did, so I brought this Hornby track, so I thought, well, while I'm going there I might as well do the Disused railway walk. Now the problem is, there is no alternative options to get to Stafford. I don't have a car, I don't have a bike. I can walk it, but it takes about 4 hours to walk it. So public transport was the only option. I did consider it, all the other options, but it wasn't viable. So it's either going to be the bus, the 825 to Stafford, or the train. That's why I took the train, because there was no alternative to public transport. But however, I did went up and down at quiet times, which they do advise you to do. Try and avoid the peak hours. So we're not far off Rugeley Trent Valley Railway Station. Gonna get off, and then I want to do an announcement at either Rugeley Trent Valley or Rugeley Town Railway Station, because I think it's ready to ride the rails again. I'm at Rugeley Town Railway Station. Now, as you see in the twist of this blog, yes, I did travel by train. But the problem is, and this what the government does state, is that if you can't drive, can't take a bike, or can't walk to where you want to, yes, you can use public transport. But it's only if you need it. Well, unfortunately, I did need it today because I wanted to go to Topp Trains to buy some Horby track. Unfortunately, I couldn't get this track off Hatton's, so that's why I had to go to Topp Trains. But I thought, well, why in Stafford, I might as well do that walk to Stafford Common, because that's also another place that I wanted to go for a long while. Now, if I just did the walk to Stafford Common and then came back, yes, I would agree with you. That is definitely not essential, and I should not have done that. But it was my only means of way of getting there, I'm afraid. So that's what I wanted to explain. If you didn't hear me on the train, that's basically what I was explaining. But one thing I have noticed at Rugeley Town Railway Station is that it is now social distance friendly. It does have the stay apart signs on the platform, and those stay aparts are also applied to Rugeley Trent Valley as well. So hopefully you enjoyed this blog today. Just me go to Stafford Common Railway Station, show you where Topp Trains is, and yes, we did actually take another central train ride, but by the time this blog actually goes up, it's actually June the 5th. No, July the 5th, sorry, not June the 5th. Because this is the announcement. Saturday the 4th of July, Sim0nTrains will return to the rails. And it's actually a trip to the Didcot Railway Centre. Again, the government have stated if you get there by car, that's fine. Unfortunately, I couldn't get there by bike because it takes about 31 hours, and if you walk it, it just takes forever. But this non-essential travel thing does get lifted on the 4th of July as well. So we can start travelling by train again. So yes, the 4th of July, the next blog is to the Didcot Railway Centre, and there is no alternative, it has to be by train. I can't drive there, I can't walk it there, I can't cycle there, and I can't use the buses because they will take all day. So that's basically the announcement. So thank you for watching this blog. This blog has been terminated at Rugeley Town Railway Station. Thank you for walking and travelling with Sim0nTrains, and we'll see you for the Didcot Railway Centre.